Next, we will discuss the methods to determine these respiratory volumes and capacities. So first of all, let's see a simple spirometer. What does it have? It have a drum inverted over a chamber of water. Here the water is present. This is a drum inverted over a chamber of water. Now this is the weight of this drum is counterbalanced by a weight. In drum there is a breathing gas, usually say oxygen. So this is the oxygen chamber. Now there is a tube connected to a mouthpiece. The person will breathe in this. And this drum, when the person breathes, this will go up or down, and the readings are made on a paper. So when we breathe in and into and out of the chamber, the drum rises and falls, and reading is made on the moving paper. So this way we can measure tidal volume and respiratory volume, expiratory reserve volume and inspiratory reserve volume. But by this method we cannot measure residual volume, because residual volume is the air which is always present in the lungs, and since we cannot expire this air, so this air will never go in this setup, so we can never measure residual volume by simple spirometry. And since residual volume is the part of functional residual capacity, so we cannot determine functional residual capacity just by simple spirometry. So for that we have another method, which is helium dilution method. Now let's see the graph. We have plotted pulmonary volumes against time. So when the person inspires, this is the tidal volume, inspire, tidal volume. So when a person inspires, this line will go up, and when he expires, this line will go down. So here the person is inspiring, so line go up, tidal volume, then he inspires forcefully. So what this is inspiratory reserve volume, then again tidal volume, then the person expires forcefully, and this is expiratory reserve volume, then again tidal volume, then a person inspires with force, so inspiratory reserve volume, then he expires forcefully, expiratory reserve volume. So this much volume is tidal volume, this is inspiratory reserve volume, this is expiratory reserve volume, and from here to here, that is the inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume and the expiratory reserve volume. Both of all three of these will combine to make vital capacity. But residual volume, since this air never goes out of lung, and FRC, which have a part of residual volume, so both of these cannot be determined by this method. So let's see the helium dilution method. In helium dilution method, we have a spirometer of known volume which is filled with air, and that air is mixed with helium at a known concentration. The helium gas have a special purpose, that it doesn't dissolve in blood. That's why we are using helium. Now before breathing from the spirometer, the person expires normally. When the person expires normally, that means the tidal volume have gone out. Now whatever is left within his or her lungs is the functional residual capacity. This is the remaining volume in the lungs. At this point, the person begin to breathe from the spirometer. So this is the setup. This is a very simple diagram. Just instead of oxygen, we have helium gas mixed with air, and we consider this as a system A and the lungs as a system B. System A, the volume of system A is known to us, and the volume of system B, we are gonna measure that by this method. So first of all, let's see some basic things. We have a system A here, and we have a system B here. System A and system B. Let's suppose we have some air here, and in this helium is mixed, and we have a system B which doesn't have any helium, just the simple air. Now if we connect these systems, we have a valve here. The volume of system A, let's suppose, is V, and the volume of system V we have to measure. Now in the system A we have initial concentration of helium, let's say it is 10%. and the system V doesn't have any helium gas. So when we open the valve, the gases will flow from system A to system B. Soon there will be an equilibrium established between both of these systems. Let's suppose some of the helium goes to system B. So final concentration of helium will change. Final concentration of helium will change. Let's suppose, just for an example, it becomes 5%. So the concentration of helium becomes exactly as half as it was. That means half of the helium is present here, half of the helium is present here, which implies that whatever volume we had taken in this system is exactly equal to the volume in this system. That's why the concentration have become half. That means the volume of system B also was V. Just say that the volume was 10 liter, then the volume of system V will become 10 liter, because the initial concentration of helium was 10%, now it became 5%. That means in both of system it was divided equally, which implies that the volume present over here was equal to the volume present over here. We can also calculate this. So the volume of system A was equal to the volume of the system B. Now let's see one more example to make things clear for you. We have a system A whose volume is V. We have an initial concentration of helium, let's say 10%. So system A has helium gas in it. Now system B, whose volume V is unknown to us, and it doesn't have any helium. Once we connect this system, the gases will move. Soon an equilibrium will be established. Now let's suppose the concentration of helium in system A becomes, see, final helium becomes 1%. That means out of 10% of helium, 1% remains in system A, and rest 9% went to system V. What does that mean? So final initial concentration was 10%, the volume was let's say V. 1% of that helium remained in system A and 9% went to system B. That means whatever volume was present in system A, the system B have 9 times more volume than it. That means if the volume of system A was V, the volume of system V will be 9V. Because out of 10% only 1% remain here. That means 9% is dissolved in the system V. What does that imply? That implies that the volume of system V was 9 times more than the system A. That's why 9% helium went to system B and only 1% stayed in the system A. Still, if this is unclear to you, you can simply calculate this with the help of simple formula, which is FRC, that is the volume, the remaining volume present in the lungs. Since we have taken the we have asked the person to expire, normal expiration, so whatever volume he have, now he have FRC, functional residual capacity. So we are measuring functional residual capacity, which will be equal to the initial concentration of helium divided by final concentration of helium minus 1 into initial volume in the spirometer. Let's use this formula. In the previous example, we had the initial concentration of helium as 10%, and the final concentration became 1%. The volume was V. So let's use this as here. See, initial helium 10, final 1 minus 1 into V. So 10 by 1 minus 1 9. So it becomes 9V. Simple. This way we can calculate the functional residual capacity, and once we know functional residual capacity, we can easily calculate the residual volume by using the formula functional residual capacity minus expiratory reserve volume will be equal to the residual volume. So by this helium dilution method, we can calculate both residual volume and functional residual capacity. So this was all about respiratory volumes and then their determinations. If you like the content, then please like the video. And if you are new to the channel, if you want to watch more such videos, then you can subscribe to the channel. Goodbye. Thank you.